that time. It's that time. It's time for me to now leave Da Nang and go to Thailand, all packed and ready to go. We spent 2 months here in beautiful Da Nang, checking it out to see the possibility, of retirement or long term living. So now we go to Thailand to check it out. Let's go! Get off my stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna miss here. I really enjoyed my stay while I was here. But as nomads, we pack and we go.
Where do you go? Which city? Which country?
Which country? Air Asia to Bangkok, Thailand.
Bangkok, Thailand.
Yes.
Okay.
Next stop. Grab ride to the airport costs $4. Takes about 30 minutes to get there. We have arrived at the airport. One thing I love about the airports over here, you get the cards for free. You also get free weigh your bags and a table to repack. Had to throw away some of my stuff to get within weight tolerance. One thing with Air Asia, they don't play. My flight today from Da Nang to Bangkok, the DMK airport. It takes about 1 hour and 40 minutes to get there in flight time. The cost for the flight is $72, and I had to pay $78 for my extra baggage, which gave me a total cost of $151.49 to get there. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. As our time is limited in retirement, why waste it? Take your life back. Finally made it through to the boarding gate, which is great. As I'm at the airport, let me give you some quick recap. Now, we've been here for 2 months, touring Da Nang, evaluating Da Nang as our retirement home option. We looked at a lot of real estate, a lot of different prices, and they were quite interesting. One of the limitations that we found with buying real estate here in Da Nang is that the rule is once a condo is built, only 30% can be an international buyer. So you find that the pool to buy from, it's very, very limited. So because of that, I found that the prices were a bit, more than I wanted to invest. One of the other limitation I found in terms of buying a condo is that how easy would it be to resell? Because when you buy it as an investor or an international person, you have to sell it back to another international person. So it tend to be a little bit more challenging to sell. And then some of the apartments, they were so different in terms of upkeep and value that it makes you wonder, okay, when you buy it over time, will it keep the value? Also, some of the condos, the primary condos that they sell here In Da Nang, it's like two types. You can buy a regular condo where you live in it right away, or you can buy a condo hotel where you buy it, but then you sign over the lease agreement to another company for 5 or 10 years, and then you don't get to be able to live in it for that 5, 10 years because they give you points and then you can only stay there for a certain time of year. Otherwise than that, it is totally rented out. So it's more like an investment property. And all those weren't really the direction I wanted to take myself. Another limitation I found where in terms of retirement option here in Danang is the visa. They don't really give you a retirement visa. So in Vietnam, I'd have to always be doing that 90-day border run, where I have to leave the country every 90 days and get the visa renewed. But then the concern comes up to say, okay, what if they say you're staying too long, or what if they change a visa rule? Then I'll be stuck with a property that I can't access. So these were all the concerns for me in terms of buying a real estate here in Da Nang. Check out now the lease option for a nice apartment here in Da Nang. Most of the leases that I was seeing for like a 1 bedroom were like $1,000 and plus. And to me, that was above my budget. Now, looking at the pros and cons for being here and living in Da Nang, so I'm going to tell you all the pros and I'll tell you all the cons that I experienced. Pro side, definitely the medical. The medical was very good and it was very, very affordable. Go to Da Nang Family Hospital. Not only are they extremely efficient, but when I do my yearly physical there, it only costs me $220. They have medical staff that speak English and all the latest equipment. The locals here in Da Nang were super friendly, super helpful. Really a joy to be around. If it's one thing I'm going to miss terribly when I leave Da Nang is the locals. I have never met a kinder set of people. They had great, great quality of food, and the food prices were very, very, very cheap. Huge amount of dining areas where you can just go a lot of places and just eat comfortably, clean, nice restaurants. And of course, the hotel prices very good. For under $20, you can get really, really good, clean hotels in a very, very, very good area. And just to name a few, like you have the Gold Hotel, which is only $15 per night. Immaculate view, very clean, in a very good location. Then you have the G8 Luxury Hotel. For $21 a night, you get this huge, spacious room, clean bathroom, gym accessibility, rooftop pool. Couldn't ask for anything more. Let's now discuss the cons. Definitely one of the cons is finding long-term stay to either buy or lease. The lease options were very expensive for me at the quality that I wanted to be at. Most of the apartments were like $1,000 a month, which I found, which was above my budget. Another con is a visa limitation, having to cross the border every 90 days and not sure, is this the 90 day they're not going to renew my visa? It's like that gray area, whereas they say you can get the visa every 90 days, but there's no specification as to how many times per year you can have that 90-day extended. So, the rules can change at any time. So I kind of would prefer a country that had a retirement option where I know this is it, this is the rule, and it won't change on me. Another thing with Penang that you have to consider is the weather. I love to come here in Da Nang in the rainy season, but that's my choice because I like to sit, unwind, and relax. But in terms of living here long term, I'm not sure if I want to stay because sometimes when it rains in Da Nang, it can rain for weeks and weeks and weeks, every day, hard rain, nonstop. So I'm not sure if I really want to take that on, like, when it rains and it rains for months. So that is something you have to consider as well. Another con is that Da Nang itself is very small. So you can basically walk it out in like an hour or two, the major part of the city that is. And once you finish all the tours, which is a good amount of tours, but once you've lived here, maybe it'll be about a month or two, you would have done all the tours. So once you've done all the tours in a very small city like Da Nang, it leaves a question now is, okay, what are you going to do next? So my concern is I might get bored, you know, from just being here in Da Nang and make it worse, nothing to do with it, just raining all day. So that's another thing to consider is what kind of activities, are there for you to do in Da Nang. And I found there wasn't enough that for me to do to keep me active. I find that in Da Nang, if you're a solo traveler and something happens, there's no nursing service that can send you a nurse aid. So basically, your back will be against the wall as a solo person if you're here and something happens. So that is another thing that I really have to. The last con for me in terms of Da Nang is a variety of food, especially my coffee. Like I'm a big coffee and matcha drinker, and I don't like too much sugar. So the sugar-free options that you can find here in Da Nang is very limited, in terms of teas and coffees and, coffee mixes, and also some other kinds of foods, international foods. You don't really find them here in Da Nang. So you might find that when you come, you have to give up certain stuff like coffee without the sugar mix, because they do put a lot of sugar in their mix. Now I'm headed to Thailand. I'm very, very excited. I've been to Thailand so many times before, but going there now, I'm more excited because I retired before turning 50, so I couldn't access the retirement visa. So now, this month, I turned 50. So now I have a lot more visa option available to me. So I'm very excited to go there now and to look into the kind of visas that would be accessible to me because for those who don't know Thailand, these are the visas that they have. And when I say these are the visas they have, I mean these are the most popular visas that is used, you know, by Americans. And I'm going to list them real quick for you. You have the tourist visa, which is 3 months. You have to renew it every 30 days. And basically, it's a single entry. So you can get there for 30 days and you have to renew it 30 days. Being there, then you have to do a border run to get it extended for another 30 days, which will give you 3 months. You then have the long stay multiple entry 1 year visa. You have to show a financial source that gives you at least $1,800 per month or have at least $23,000 in your bank account to get that visa. Another visa option that I'm thinking exploring is you can do a study visa. Like I want to learn Thai, so that will give me 3 months, so I don't have to do the border runs. So it'll give me 3 months, but it is a single entry, and I have to show my tuition and that I can afford to pay for wherever I'm going to live. Another visa option that I'm thinking of exploring, which is a retirement visa, which you have to be at least 50 years or older in order to get it. And of course, you have to show finances. So, they do give you a lot of options for visas when you're retired. And that's one of the great factors with Thailand. Now, I'm going to discuss with you all the pros and cons that I know from it being in Thailand for at least 1 year, all the pros and cons that I've experienced in Thailand. Here goes. I'm going to start with the pros. In Thailand, you get a lot of options in terms of sugar free stuff. So I find that that is great. Another thing that I love with Thailand is that Amazon delivers. So for a lot of the stuff, which is very surprising to me, you just pick your phone up, click it, and Amazon delivers. The last time when I was there about a year ago, I actually got my Amazon delivered, and there was no extra charge for the delivery. What I love with Thailand is you can basically get anything that you can get in the US for most part, you can get it in Thailand. In Thailand, it is very easy to ship to the rest of the world. So if you're there and you want to send something to a loved one or something, it is very easy. I've done it. Just go down to Chinatown. There's a post office there. And for a very good rate, they'll just ship it for you. And it takes about a week or so to ship stuff to America. Thailand's political system is quite stable, from what I know. You never hear of Thailand in any kind of political arguments with anybody. They basically just mind their own business, from what I know. So I like that. I don't have to feel scared that there's going to be a war that's going to pop off in a minute. Another thing I like with Thailand is they're very liberal. Their society, it's very free. I think they're democratic, but they're very, very free. They can do like whatever they want, and the people there in Thailand are very nice. They're good to live around. There's a tourist police that is designated for tourists. So you have the tourist police number. So if anything happens, you have a concern, you call the tourist police, boom, boom, and they speak English. So you won't have to feel as if you're fumbling around in the dark. They're one of the very few countries, and Bali, that I see that have that, in place, which I find to be, is very comforting to know. In Bangkok, a large portion of the population speaks English. So when you're there, you don't feel lost. There's always someone around you that speak English. So if there's anything or any concern or if you get lost, they're very, very helpful, and there's always someone there to help. Bangkok transportation system is like no other. You have the BTS, the MRT, you can go along the river, you can take a bike, you can take a yellow cab, a red cab, the bus. There's so many options to get around Bangkok, and the prices are so low that, it just makes transportation breeze, really. The medical system in Bangkok is very, very good. So if something happens to you, you have a good medical hospital that you can go to, and they have a very good infrastructure. Those are all the things that I like so far about Thailand, but there's still a lot of stuff that I don't know that I'm going to check out. If you're planning to do an international move, you can subscribe to follow my journey, and hopefully it will bless yours. Some of the things I plan to look into is real estate options in terms of long term lease and in terms of buying. What are the rules for buying a condo over there? I know from the last time when I was glancing at it, they were like 51% has to be owned by Thai, 49% can be sold. And I've been glimpsing over quite a bit, but I want to now go and really check out the options to buy or long term lease. I also need to really go and speak to a visa advisor to see what really visa will be best, for a retiree. What are my options? How to get around stuff, how to open up a bank account. Do they have medical insurance that's available, for retirees, Americans? So there's still a lot of work that we have to do, a lot of things to check out before deciding which country are we going to call home, you know. There's just a lot to consider. So until we meet again, This is where we're at. Thanks for joining.